because you were
Absolutely.
put in a space where you were connected with the right people. And they saw how you worked and be like, you know what, there's not an opportunity here, but I'll refer you to this person. You volunteered and then ended up getting more work out of that.
That's right. That's right. And I mean, when I was laid off at RDRC, I had been a volunteer with Dress for Success for 2 years, and they picked me right up 6 weeks later. So I was working with Dress for Success for a while.
That's amazing.
Um,
So the transition just kept on going.
yes. And so I was able to finish my degree. I did get my bachelor's in social science. Um, but I knew it was something else that I needed to do. It wasn't enough for me just to work for an employer, because I realized that even when I would leave work and the clients, they would come in for services and then come back again. Sometimes you see them in the street or when you're traveling, because people become familiar with you.
Mm-hmm.
And so people would somehow find me and be like, oh, Jaquan, I need your help. You helped me so much when I was at this agency, or when I was at Dress for Success, or I remember you from Rockaway, from
Mm-hmm.
RDRC, but I need help again. Would you be able to help me? And so I began to get those kind of requests overwhelmingly. And I'm like, wait a minute.
This is like, I'm doing it for me now.
Yes, I mean, I'm like, I'm always willing to help others. I've always given of myself and volunteered, but I'm like, now it's becoming time consuming.
Mm-hmm.
And people are requesting me to now come and speak. People were requesting me to do job readiness workshops. And I'm like, God, what am I supposed to be doing here?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when I was given beyond a job. Beyond a job. And with the beyond a job, I mainly coach women, but I don't discriminate against men, because
Mm-hmm.
if they would like services, of course I do serve. But my primary focus is women, because when I think about my situation and what I went through, the women are usually the ones that are the caregivers. They're the ones that normally have to take care of the children, take them to the daycare, take them to school, make sure the house is clean, make sure you do laundry, taking care of the bills. A lot of times, unfortunately, it's the mom that's left being a single parent. And so, many of the challenges, similar to what I went through, I realized I wasn't alone in my situation, that there are so many other mothers out there, whether they have children or they've even taken on children that are not even theirs,
Right.
and
Well,
us caregivers.
well, hold that thought. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. So, Shaquan, like we were saying right before the segment, a lot of times it's the woman who is the primary caregiver, the one responsible. And that's primarily the reason why child support is paid to a woman, because of the fact that you have to, like you outlined, run up and down to daycare, get them ready for school. A lot of that intense labor really
Yes.
falls on the mother. So that's why you felt compelled to actually do a lot of help with women to help get them prepared. What are some of the cases that you've seen with women that kind of remind you about yourself?
Um, well, working with several employers, I remember a lot of mothers were, unfortunately, became homeless just like I was, because they weren't making enough on their job. They were forced to take these minimum wage jobs. They didn't have the time or the support to go to college and go to school at the same time. And so they too ended up in the shelter. And there's others who were in the military, and they needed to, transitioning back into civilian life, found that, the resources that were supposed to be there for them weren't. And it was difficult to make that transition from being in the military to civilian life. How do you translate that a resume that's several pages that's meant for the government now for a civilian job?
Yeah.
There's
You're overqualified for everything.
right, and sometimes it's difficult to kind of decode the language that's in the military to now a civilian job, and so they needed help with that. Also, the social skills. How do you interact in certain situations? What are certain things you should do and shouldn't do? It's not exactly a rule book that says, you shouldn't talk like this close, face to face, or
When to smile, when
right,
not to smile.
exactly.
Do you cross your hands? Those are typical things that, unless you're coached, and it just really depends on where you're looking for a job. The culture, that's why you should research the culture of the company you're going to work for.
Absolutely. And so with my company, Beyond a Job Incorporated, that's where I would come in. I coach not only on just resume building, interview questions. I talk about body language. I talk about personal development, because as I said before, you have to know who you are before you can know where you're going. And so if your personal is not together, then your professional at some point is going to fall apart.
That's very true. How do we get in contact with you? Social media is so important. Everyone's trying to stay connected. Everybody's got a smartphone, so how do we find you online?
Yes, well, you can find Beyond a Job Incorporated on my website, which is www.beyondajob.net. You can also find me on Facebook, and that's Shaquan Thomas.14. Also on Twitter, which is under author Shaquan and the letter H. And Instagram, you can find me at Shaquan Hoke.
There you go. I love it, and I hope everyone at home would take the time to actually go and poke around. And I saw author on there as well. So briefly, just kind of give us a little overview on that.
Yes, I wrote The Audacity to Rise because so many people would ask me, well, how did you become a job developer, or how did you become a career coach? And once I told a part of my story, they was like, oh my gosh, you have to let people know your story. And I even have a coach for myself. And so I was told, my story will help someone come out of their situation. And this all, again, comes back to my belief in my foundation, because it showed me how far I've come from where I was. And I said, you know what, I want to be able to touch someone's life that's way on the other side of the world, someone that feels like they're just in a hopeless space and they're in a dark place. But I want them to be able to have access to my book and read it. And it's very short. It's a short story. It's a short synopsis of the things that I've went through. But I also give 7 steps on how I came out of my situation. So it gives the hardships of me experiencing trauma at a very young age, and then me going into homelessness, me not knowing who I was as a person, to now me knowing exactly what I want, me being able to come out of that situation, and me be able to rise and now be able to bring others along with me.
And not only that, find a partner and get married. I mean, I think that's just the icing on the cake. A lot of times people think, like, you get the career part together, but you literally completed it where you have the career part and you found somebody great. And
Yes.
I'm sure he's very supportive of this.
Yes, he is. I'm really thankful. I really thank God every day that, you know, I'm in the space that I'm in. And I thank God for my husband. And since being with him, he has really been very, very supportive in all of my endeavors and just being that shoulder of strength, that pillar of strength that I need.
Absolutely. Well, Shaquan, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. It's been great having you here. And of course, check out all her social media. The book is also available. All that's on the website. So definitely check it out. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, you can send us an email at info@beyondfocusmedia.com. I'm your host, Lydia Patel. Thank you so much for joining us. And we'll be back again next week. Same time, same place. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Stay with us.
Beyond Focus TV show wants and needs your feedback. Did we blunder? Please let us know so we can improve. Was the show helpful to you? Drop us a note so we can share the success with our staff members. Is there something you think we could do better? We welcome new ideas and new approaches to old ideas. Do you have a great suggestion? Let us know and we'll work on it. If you would like to share your comments anonymously, please send us an email at info@beyondfocusmedia.com. If you want to get in touch with the executive producer directly, send him an email at gene@beyondfocusmedia.com. We really look forward to hearing from you.